So I guess a good place to start the coverage of this expedition would be before it even begins, at the very beginning. You're joining me in my kitchen here, where we are doing some pre-exped admin. So here, obviously, we've got medical stuff. I've got a nice little book for night times. Loads and loads of nutties. So we've got gels, we've got rice bars. Obviously, we've got real meal bars. Don't go anywhere on the mountains without them. And of course, don't go anywhere without coffee. So we've got the area first to get me squared away on that front. And then coming over here, one of the challenges when you go to a place like Kintail, which is renowned for its rainfall, is packing for changeability. It really is a place where you can get 4 seasons in one day. So you want kit and equipment that can handle changeability, where if it comes warm and the sun's out, you're not sweating to death. Equally, there might be high wind and also considerable rainfall. So you really got to take that into consideration when you are packing, and you're going to be carrying all of that weight, for 8 to 10 hours every day. So taking a quick scan across, I really like these Innovate boots, fast and light, but they are Gore-Tex as well. We've got a variety of gloves. You always want a minimum of 2 in case one of them saturates and soaks through, because then your hands are going to get cold really quick. Got a fantastic Aegis trouser from Through Dark here, which is a waterproof trouser. It's not Gore-Tex, it's a material called Event, and these are really good if it does start coming down sideways. Got various different layers. So we've got a siege layer for warmth. We've got another Polartec layer. We've got a soft shell, which I'll wear up until it starts really coming down. Then I'll swap to a hard shell. And somehow we're going to get all this stuff into there. And then it'll be meeting me at Inverness, where we'll get the transport into Kintail. See you there.
Connect via Wi-Fi or join the club by simply visiting shop.via.com, where you can access free messaging and discover more.
So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Haddon Woodburn Memorial Hut, which is where the Kintail Uncharted expedition is going to be taking place. Now, this is exclusive property of Edinburgh University Mountaineering Council, but through Russ, one of the fantastic members of our team, actually our expedition leader, we have been given permission to stay here, and this is where me, the team, and our clients will be staying for the 4 days of our expedition. So let's have a look around and introduce you to some of the team. So coming on in. Who's going on in here? Got a big man Steve taking some photos. Got Louis. Fucking say hello.
Hello.
Big Russ.
How we doing?
And fucking the main girl, Betty. Right, I'll leave you boys to do some actual work when I'm fucking about. Through here, this is where the team and I are going to be staying. This has been home to more than one socials, if you can't tell. And then heading upstairs to where the clients are going to be getting their heads down for the next few days. We've got these Alpine style bunk rooms, room 1 and room 2. Now, these are not 5-star. These are not, the lavishes of luxury, but that's absolutely the point. You are out here. Let me show you the view from the rooms. You're out here for a reason, and if you want a luxurious room, fuck off to the Ritz. We are here to create real experiences with real individuals and real connection, and this is going to be the birthing place of that for the next 4 days.
It's just up, pick up this ridge, and then we just follow this ridge all the way along that way. Come down this spur is the idea, to pick up this track here. Yeah, that track there, and then just follow that all the way back in. And then the second day would be looking at picking off Seast Douve and this ridge, pick that up, come back round, and then back round and in. Probably a 17, 18k day. And then day 3, quite like the idea of the final day being a big slog.
Yeah.
Then trying to get back up that stream to try and get up onto this high point here. Which is a posh word for sliding on your arse.
Say hello, Plum.
Hello.
Come on YouTube. So, what elevation we at Russ?
850.
On.
So we're on the Ben Fadder ridge line now. So we came up Ben Vui, which is the yellow hill, which is the 500 feature, up onto the ridge at 850. and then we're going to traverse all the way along the ridge to Ben Fadder at 10:32, which I think you might be able to see someone on the summit of now. Yeah, Ben Fadder meaning the long hill, and you know, you can see that when you get up there. It's a big long ridge all the way along. So, see Stu, which is this like ridge line that you see going up to the high point, the sort of nearest one, and then down the other side of it into the saddle, and then follow that re-entrance back round, and then the final day to do this full ridge line in a oneer. Do see Stu and drop down to that saddle, but then we'll continue on over these tops to this ridge line that runs pretty much towards us here. The final day we'll just come up this ridge here, back onto the top, and then continue along the ridge to pick all those off before we come back in. Everyone happy with that? Yeah. Cool. Yes, over there's the Munro summit for today, Skua Furen at 1,067 metres. Yeah, we're just going to go over the top of that and pick a line down back to the hut. Everyone happy?
Good with me, mate.
So that's it. It's Monday evening. I got home at 1:30 a.m. this morning, and rather jump straight into recording a debrief. Obviously, I've gone through a working day, haven't trained today, a little bit of fatigue has built up, but I just wanted to kind of unpack and debrief the past week, which has been absolutely spectacular. Hopefully, the footage showed a multitude of things: the weather, the natural beauty of that landscape, and the real connection that people were having out on the trail when we were speaking with each other and just having a great time. Now, obviously, there's huge limitations to what I can show through content on this. And, you know, to be transparent, I'm there to connect with clients, to reconnect with myself, to connect with my team, to just have a fucking incredible time. So whilst I'm really keen to showcase and demonstrate, you know, what goes on, the beauty of the landscapes, the realities of what we do, where we take people, how it all functions and operates, ultimately there are some moments that are quite intimate, that are quite raw, that are quite real, you know. And I don't know how you would feel if someone then started getting a camera out and saying, do it again for camera. You know, it just doesn't feel right. So, you know, there's always going to be limitations as to how much I can show, but we're always finding new ways to show that whilst being respectful of people's privacy, people's experiences, and, you know, the aura of those events. Now, the two things that really stood out to me on that event. The first is I had a fantastic conversation with a client of ours, Barry. Now, Barry's 52 and was an absolute rock star all week. You know, he kept up with the pack. You know, we're talking early 30s to sort of 40-year-old guys, very fit, very conditioned, as per the training that we'd given them that led them up for 12 weeks prior to that expedition. And the one thing that stood out that he said is that, you know, he's got 6 kids. He's a busy guy. He's a busy guy, as well as being a professional and training. And he said training for that event, for that expedition, had brought him closer to his 19-year-old son, because every Saturday he would say, hey, I'm going out on the hills, going for a walk, do you want to come with me? And he started off somewhat reluctantly, as I'm sure you can appreciate most 19-year-olds would, and then he really grew into it until the dynamic shifted, and his 19-year-old son was coming to him and saying, Dad, we're going out on the hills this weekend, kind of looking forward to it. And they had real connection, real time together, real time to bond between father and son. And I thought that was just absolutely incredible, and is just demonstrative of the true power of authentic leadership that we have as men, to disrupt any generational traumas, to lead by example, to be empathetic, compassionate and emotionally available for those around us in a way that maybe our parents weren't, utilizing, you know, the incredible thing that is, you know, physical health and well-being, resilience, being out in nature and stuff like that. And I thought that was just a really cool thing that was definitely not expected, but came from the expedition. The second thing was on the last evening, you always have a bit of a debrief, what we call a bit of a wash up. You know, there's a couple of bottles of whiskey, to be honest, and we just ask guys open, honest questions centered around, you know, what was the best part of the week for you, what was the worst or most challenging part, and what did you learn? And to a man, you know, variations on a theme, when asked what they learned, was I'm just so much calmer when I'm out here, when I'm out in the mountains. You know, when I'm in work and I'm in that pattern of life, it can sometimes be months, if not years, before I ever take a break and ever take time off myself like this. And I just get so zoomed in, I just focus on such nonsense. It doesn't matter at work, and I end up taking that energy home and taking my wife and kids for granted and being snippy and irritable with them. And, you know, just not feeling good about myself as a result. And, you know, it made me feel really anxious to come out here, for wondering if I'm going to be fit enough, you know, wondering if I should be taking time away from home, wondering if, you know, I'm going to get in trouble for taking time away from work. But actually, after 24 hours, all that completely vanishes from my mind. I get a completely changed perspectives. I finally am able to zoom out and see the reality of the situation, which is I miss my wife and kids dearly, which makes me feel truly grateful for the fact that I have them in the first place. You know, I'm rich because of that alone. Secondly, you know, I'm able to see things through a new lens and a refreshed perspective in work, which I'm going to, you know, is going to be hugely helpful for me when I do go back, because I'm ultimately there to solve problems and think and strategize. And now I've got a new ability to do that. And I just feel like I'm connected to my authentic self again. So those are the two big things that I took away from it, on top of just an incredible week. And for me, you know, it was the pattern interrupt that I didn't know I needed until I went on it. And that often tends to be the case. So it was a truly fantastic expedition. I'm really hopeful that I've done it justice in the very amateur footage that I've covered from it. Of course, you'll be looking at the photos on social media and all those kind of things. We've already begun planning the next one, which will be in sort of early Q4 2025, and we've got a really exciting one coming up in Q3 of 2026, where we will be going to Norway. 2 hours north of Tromsø in the north of Norway, and we're really, really excited about that. But, you know, if you enjoyed watching this, please do comment below. It genuinely is so fulfilling for me to see that. If it's invigorated and enthusiasm for you to get back into the mountains again, please comment. Let me know where you're going, because to be honest, I can never hear too much about mountains and routes and different mapping sessions, etc. Or if you've been to those areas in and around Kintail where we were, you'll firsthand know how beautiful they are. And again, please drop a comment for that. But any questions, anything you want to know more about, please do not hesitate to drop in the comments. So if you want to have a consultation or a conversation with us, you know, again, there'll probably be links in the bio as well. But otherwise, thank you for joining me on our expedition, and I look forward to seeing you again next week.